Flippers today are at least trying to make six figures, so at least $100,000 profit margin. Your first flip, here at least in the Bay Area, you made a profit of $192,000. What about in terms of development? Home development business doesn't ever sleep, huh?
Hard to sleep. This is one of those businesses where I think you have to be on alert 24/7. We people got 10 projects now going on. These are very high-end projects. Out of 6 out of 10, more than 10 million after sale value. There is an element of risk. It's all about numbers in this business. So you mitigate your risk by making sure you buy right.
So right now you said that you have 6 projects that at the end of it will be worth $10 million. I'm sure you guys both didn't start there. How did you all get into development? Let's just round off that first flip to 200K, and then now let's round this one a little bit to 2 million. Obviously you added a 0 there and another comma. When did development come into a possibility for you?
I'm at a stage in my life where if I did not take this jump, I would have never done it.
I want to know your thought processes in terms of risk. Is because there's more margin in development, does that mitigate the risk for you all? So today I'm sitting with Nitin Handa and with Sanjay Kapoor, and we're talking about their development, their luxury development business, may I add you. We're sitting today in their $9.5 million house in Palo Alto, and we're talking about how they've gone and done flips for 200K profit to now looking at $1 million profits, $2 million profits, and maybe even more all in the Bay Area with luxury development. So, Nitin, Sanjay, thanks for jumping on the show today.
Thank you for inviting us.
Home development business doesn't ever sleep, huh?
Hard to sleep. We still manage to get the sleep.
Yeah.
But this is one of those businesses where I think you have to be on alert 24/7.
Okay.
You may not be getting any calls late in the evening, but still you have to be constantly thinking because there's so much going on in this business. And we people got 10 projects now going on. These are very high-end projects. Out of 6 out of 10 are more than $10 million after sale value.
Wow.
And after rehab value, I mean. So yeah, you have to be on the alert. You have to constantly think of what's going on, constantly think of what new systems to build.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I think the coordination itself is a lot of work because we bring in the architect, bring in the designer, subcontractors, contractors, so many people that they can forget about things, but we can't. So we have to remind them every day. Like we send out 5-6 text messages in the morning, reminding people of this is due today, this is due tomorrow. So yeah, a lot of that kind of thing. So we have to have plans and thinking ahead.
So it's project management at the highest level, and you also have the highest risk of it. So you have to make sure it gets through.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Project management at highest level, sometimes even at lowest level.
Okay.
And that could be very frustrating. So sometimes you have to zoom in, zoom out,
Yeah.
That's the nature of this game. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I like it, and I appreciate it. And so I'm excited to dive in, obviously, how you got into this business. So right now you said that you have 6 projects that at the end of it will be worth $10 million. I'm sure you guys both didn't start there. So how did you all get into development? Nitin, we'll go with you first.
Yeah, I started way back in 2013-14 when I started buying some rental properties, just buy, fix, and rent. I did a couple of small flips in Florida. Those were small flips, and I had someone else manage them there. The flips did not work very well out of state, but the buy, fix, and rent worked very well. And that's the model I started with. I really never thought that I'll get big into flipping. I thought it's all going to be buy, fix, and rent, and I can build positive cash flow to supplement my W-2 income. And then come 2014 and 15 probably is when I did a major flip here in Bay Area. 2015 November, I remember that was the time when we sold that property. And that's when I did a major flip in Bay Area in Fremont. It was Mission School District, very high-end, very desired school district of Fremont. And actually, I sent some letters. I just spent $2,000 sending some letters to homeowner. And one old couple called us. And somehow, it was just meant to be for us. They called us and they said, we want to sell. I just gave them, I did my math. I was always good at numbers on these. Did my math and gave them the number. Told them I'll buy for $1 million. And they kind of sounded excited at that time, because I remember the lady telling her husband, hey, he's saying $1 million. He's saying $1 million he'll pay. She said, okay, yeah, I think we can have a deal. We'll just give you a call back in 10 minutes. She called me back and she said, yeah, million is okay and we'd like to do the deal with you. The only problem is that we got a tenant there who will go out in about 4 months from now. Is that okay with you? Are you okay to buy after 4 months? And, we were like, in order to buy this house, we need to sell our own condo where we were living. And luckily, we bought the condo in 2012 where we were living. That was our primary residence at a very low value of, I think, 400K. That was the bottom market. And we sold it for 750. And we thought it's such a match made in heaven in the sense they want 4 months. We want 4 months to sell our condo. And, within a week, we prepared it for the market because we needed about 200-300K to buy that house, even with the bank loan and all that, you need that. Didn't have any money to do that. So 4 months we sold the condo. I still remember the condo was sold, it took 3-4 months to sell it. And then the day we got the cash, about a week after that, we closed on the Fremont deal. And, that deal was very lucrative, turned out to be a great deal. And we made about $192,000 on that deal. And that's what got me going further in this business. That's what gave me the confidence. And then next year in 2016, I did more flips and more square footage additions, slowly moved from square footage additions to new construction, smaller new construction in San Jose, then bigger and bigger. And now we are mostly focused into this high-end peninsula market.
Okay. Well, that's a nice stepping stone.
Right.
Sanjay, is yours the same story?
No, very different. Very different. And so Nitin and I, we are both chartered accountants, which is the equivalent of CPA from India. And then we did CPA together. We worked together in corporate. So I have been almost, 25 years working in corporate as a financial controller, last when I resigned. And these are all 3 different companies, but all Fortune 500 companies. And but we worked together for 15 years before that. And we've known each other, we studied together for CPA. So kind of, we've been friends as well as colleagues, trust each other, and we know each other's strengths and limitations. And so till last year, I was working in the corporate. So I left not long back, and I had no real estate experience. Just that I think we wanted to, get together, and he wanted somebody who he can trust. I thought, and I wanted a change, and I wanted to, because we've done a lot of project management. I understand numbers as good as he understands them, possibly little less, but yeah. So from that standpoint, I think it was meant to happen, and so he offered. And then we spent 3 or 4 months doing some sort of due diligence and talking and meeting his and looking at his projects, what he does. Started understanding a little bit more, and then slowly I joined him. So that's been the journey. I had no thinking of going into this market, but here I am and super excited. Very interesting. I don't miss my corporate days at all.
Yeah.
So a lot of good things are happening right now.
What year was the first project you guys worked together on?
It's actually this year only that together last year he was still in his job, but he would still come and see the projects to get a feel of everything as we were finalizing our partnership between us. So I told him, you start doing your due diligence, look at the project. So he would join me. But this is the year when we have started doing joint projects where he's independently managing 4 projects right now. I occasionally pitch in, but mostly he's managing it, and that's how it's been.
Gotcha. So, and then before you guys partnered, did you invest in any of his projects at all?
No.
No, so you just went full in. I like it.
Yeah.
Big chunk of the investments do come from investors. That's where we involve investors. With so many projects going on, we can't put all our own money. We did put some money of our own in, like there's a syndication fund where a lot of investors have invested with us, and we do put some money of our own, but there are other investors who chip in, and we give them a very healthy returns, and that's how we are able to manage a much bigger portfolio of projects together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, just to tease the audience a little bit, your first flip here, at least in the Bay Area, you made a profit of $192,000, which is
Right.
amazing for a flip. Right? I
Right.
feel like most flippers today are at least trying to make six figures, so at least
Yeah.
$100,000 profit margin. What about in terms of development? Do you have a favorite development deal that you've done, and what's been like that nice payout where you said, okay, I'm in the luxury development now?
Right. I think that really the big development deal I've done was in Atherton. That
Okay.
was a big one earlier. Now we have done many more, but the biggest one we started with, the big ones when we started. We have done many more before that on a smaller scale in San Jose, smaller development. The big one was in Atherton. It was on Fair Oaks Avenue in Atherton, and that was big in multiple sense. Like it was Atherton. We were working in Atherton for the first time. Atherton, I think, officially is the most expensive city in the world when it comes to the real estate. I think I read somewhere one of the zip codes is the most expensive zip code in the world. And number two, the city was never easy to deal with. Number three, we were on a cul-de-sac where parking was a huge challenge. So many times the subcontractors would come and they have to go back.
Okay.
Number four, COVID hit right in between when we submitted the plans to the city.
Okay.
And the city was closed for a couple of months or 3 months, and we could not get any communication back from them. And number five, I think it was a big lot with so many trees and such a complicated lot to deal with, where we have to protect the trees as per very strict rules of protecting trees. We still have to build a big house. The house was backing El Camino. That was another complication around that lot. But eventually it turned out to be very fruitful. We weathered through all the challenges. I would say that's one of the most complicated single family flat lots to deal with. You could get more complicated lots which are on the hills and all that. We don't do that. We normally avoid that. But that was the most complicated single family flat lot to deal with. But it was very fruitful. It took, I think we bought it in December of 2019. We purchased that.
Okay. So right
Let's say
before
January of 2020 is when we purchased it. March, April is when the COVID hit. And we sold it in January of 2022.
Okay.
So total 2 years of project, and about 7-8 months went to the city to get the plans and permit. We unfortunately lost 2 months because of COVID in that process. Would have been faster, and that another 15 months to build it. And we sold it off market when the house was ready. We staged it. There was somebody. So our agent just sent the listing to few top agents of the area, and we got like 3 or 4 showing in the very first 2 days. And one person was very eager to buy it. They gave us a cash offer, 7 days close. The finals were not even passed till then. It was staged, but we were still waiting for the final sign up from the city. 7 days close, and it was all cash offer. Sold it for 6.1 million. It was very, very profitable.
How much did you buy it for, and how much did you put into it?
So we bought it for 1.8 million, 1.825, and we put in about 1.635.
Okay.
In it. I remember
Okay.
the numbers very well. And I think after all the real estate commissions and everything, our final net profit was 2.2 million on that deal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think what I would add is the good part is that he has a very good relationship with his customers afterwards.
Yes.
So which is great that there is great feedback. People just love living in that house and still
Yeah.
want to invest with him. So that's where I saw there was a lot of value where people after sale thought that this guy can be trusted.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, there's always some little small stuff which will come up. A huge home like that, got so many multiple systems working, they are interacting with each other. There are always little things come up, and we always, make sure we do provide that service to our customers who buy our homes. And that's the reason why they were so happy. And, even till today, we talk, occasionally for something. I remember a couple of weeks back, the owner texted me asking me, hey, where's the landscaper? He's not coming off late, because we were using the same landscaper. I referred them my landscaper. And I was like, I don't know, he's not working for me. She said, normally, he used to be quite responsive on the text, and now I'm trying to reach him. He's not responding back on the text. So I was just checking if you are also using him. Hope everything is okay with him.
Yeah.
But we do talk, and they have been great too. So
Okay, so obviously you've upgraded now. Let's just round off that first flip to 200K. And then now let's round this one a little bit to 2 million. Obviously we added a zero there and another comma. Um, as you were flipping, when did development come into a possibility for you?
So 2016, when I was doing some square footage additions, and I sold 3 or 4 projects during that period, 2016 until the middle of 2017. I sold some project, and those were all square footage additions.
Okay.
So I thought I have moved to a next level above flipping, and this is where I should stay. This is my sweet spot. But then that's when I thought that no, this is getting boring now. Square footage addition. Why not build a brand new house? And then we did a couple of brand new houses in San Jose. Worked well. Then slowly, we started doing more brand new houses, which worked very well. And they were all in San Jose. And then, we moved here in Peninsula. And that was one of the Fair Oaks Avenue, which we bought in January of 2020, is an example. That's when, we started doing more developments in this area. Well, once you do something, then you don't want to go back to anything else. Then it becomes so comfortable that you want to continue doing it. Yeah.
I mean, why? I guess, like, why did you get bored? Were you just running the numbers and saying, well, I could add another $100,000 in profit if I did the extended. I could add $1 million in profit if I built.
Right, exactly. I think so. That's exactly what it was, that we can add more and more. And, the new construction was more challenging, more fun, more interesting. And also, with the new construction, you are starting from ground zero level. You can build something of your choice, which has a lot of wow factor. When you're adding or you're just doing a flip, you're restricted by what is there existing.
Yeah. We see that even now. Like this one's totally new. So very different feeling from one of the flips that we are doing in Hillsborough, where it's like smaller and the walls you're not really changing the plans. So your thought process and what you want to use your gray matter, you don't get to use that so much because you can't change that much. So here we are able to, and some of these plans we have changed. We want to now go with larger windows, get more light in the house. Keep discussing these things. So every time we're making better and better.
Yeah.
And our team also kind of understands now what we're looking for, and there is a very standard guidance that these are the things that people are looking for, because you're learning as you're growing.
Yeah. So I want to know your thought processes in terms of risk. Some people say that flipping is risky, new construction's it's all quote unquote risky. In your mind, is because there's more margin in development, does that mitigate the risk for you all?
There is an element of risk, but I think in this business, where you really mitigate the risk is by buying right. If you buy right, like they say, you make your money in purchase in this business. If you're buying right, and buying right doesn't mean that, you pick the worst house in the best neighborhood. No. It is more about numbers, price, rather than location in this business. And believe it or not, I've made some great profit in some worse areas of Oakland because they were purchased right. It's all about numbers in this business.
Yeah.
So you mitigate your risk by making sure you buy right. Now, there are other ways of mitigating the risk. One of the reasons we are in Peninsula is because we know Peninsula market shows a lot of resilience, even in a downturn. When 2008 crash happened, Peninsula just fell 14% as per the official numbers we pulled from MLS, versus the other counties, like the 3 counties on an average, Santa Clara, San Mateo, and San Francisco, on an average, they fell almost like 35%. But that's the beauty of being in Peninsula. You mitigate your risk there also.
Okay.
And then you mitigate your risk by making sure the construction is done at the right price.
Yeah.
Once you start casually doing construction and you just pay whatever the general contractor sitting in the market, the best contractor sitting in the market asks for, you are screwed. He will take away all your margins. Yeah.
Very true. And take way too long, and then financing costs are ridiculous.
Right.
Sanjay, what about for you? You left the W-2 last year to jump full-time with Nitin. What, from a risk perspective, like, how did you come up with that decision to take that jump?
I knew it was going to be risky. First couple of years, maybe, you have to have patience and kind of learn a lot. But then there is still a cushion. I've seen him grow. I've worked with him. I've known him. So it's just awesome to be here. And for me, there is a little bit of risk, but I think there is a lot of potential for growth. And if we work together and do well, in the sense, the learnings that we are getting from each of the projects. And I'm already seeing we are doing 3 projects which are new construction. Each of the next project, even after 2 months, we are learning a lot and adding more and more to that project. So I think we are reducing the risk by really knowing what the customer wants.
Yeah.
We are also associated with agents that are supporting us as part of our team to give us feedback along the way. So we know what we are building is desirable, and that is what, the customer would look for.
Yeah.
So we're getting that feedback as we go along. When we design something, then we get their feedback.
Yeah.
We tweak it, and then we go for finishes. We share with them, then we get more feedback, we change it if required. So things are kind of in that state.
Yeah.
And then we are always negotiating to keep our costs to the minimum, as well as trying to build templates where we have standardized rates fixed with contractors, subcontractors. So we are not spending too much time on those things because those are standardized.
Yeah.
And we have a template.
Okay.
So I think it's a reasonable risk. But
Yeah.
definitely, when you jump off a ship and you get into another ship, then it's going to be. But yeah, that excites you as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm at a stage in my life where if I did not take this jump, I would have never done it.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm super excited.
And how long did it take you to take the jump from your accounting job into real estate full time?
It took me about, so basically, because I started it originally, I didn't want to just leave my job, and my wife was not working at that time. Didn't want to just leave my job and jump into real estate. So it took me, first year was fix and rent in Florida. The next year was some wholesaling, Then the third and fourth year is, almost half of the fourth year is where I did these initial flips and some square footage additions with my wife supporting me. She was the one who was in the field initially. And that's once I felt comfortable with it, then I decided to leave my job and, switch over full time.
How many projects would you say that you did before you said, okay, honey, I'm going to quit my job?
I think between us, me and my wife, I think we did about 3 to 4 projects,
Okay.
Before I said, 3 projects, maybe a proper project I would call, before we decided to, leave the job.
Do it full time.
Yeah, do it full time.
Yeah, and I'm sure obviously with those projects you had a decent margin. You said, well, look, we're going to make more money. Don't worry.
yeah, exactly. That's always the thing that, with your job, if you're doing it, why not? Then without the job, you can do even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so one thing I saw that I should mention is when you're working in a larger company, you're really not seeing things happening in front of you. Here, what you make, it shows up after a time, right? And that's really exciting that this is your imagination, and this is what you learned, and this is selling for this much. So it keeps you excited.
Yeah.
Go on. So I think that's another thing where he used to share that, he's doing this now and it's super exciting. He would be on the phone and, talking. And then he quit. I remember that time. But it's very interesting.
It's a journey,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a journey. You just start small, then slowly grow big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so on that journey, if someone wanted to get started, let's not talk about flipping, let's talk about development. In the Bay Area, it's very different than the rest of the country because we're just in a weird real estate market where your average house is like 1.7 million, which is a super luxury in other markets.
Yeah.
Say someone wanted to get started in San Jose, right, and try and build your basic $2 million house, how much money do you think they actually need to get started and do one of those projects?
If you want to build a basic $2 million house, which means basically you should be all in, including the interest cost, which interest is the financing cost, your construction, your purchase at 1.5 million max, probably even at 1.4, and then you still have commissions to pay and closing costs to pay. I would say they need at least 400-500K to start with.
Okay.
You need to have that much of money. But in fact, unfortunately, there is hardly any basic $2 million house here. I mean, I would say you have to shoot for at least $3 million, $3.5 million house if you're doing development, if you're not doing flips. Flips, you can do that with 1 million to, you're doing $3 million house, and you probably need 600-700K in your pocket to be able to do something like that, and you should be willing to lose some money also. You should be prepared to lose some money also initially as you go through it.
Yeah.
But to me, the bigger question would be, ask yourself whether you have the mindset. This kind of business involves a lot of obsession. You need to be obsessed with it. You have that mindset of being constantly on guard and constantly hyper focus on the business. Because when you're building a new house, or even if you're flipping, there are like 50,000 things you need to take care of. You should be able to organize yourself, and you should be able to think in all 6 directions. Finding deal, raising money, or investing your own money, finding the right contractor, getting it done at the right price, finding the right agent to sell it. You should be able to think in all directions. But yeah, so it's not just having 600-700K in the pocket. It's also ask yourself whether you have that right mindset to do this business.
Okay, well, to kind of whiteboard this out, my let's call it my first development deal, right? Since I've never done development before. You said you should at least target $3 million. If you have, $600,000. From there, obviously looking at the peninsula, maybe, but like for a purchase price and construction costs and to target at $3 million, what's that kind of look like? Are you buying for 1.5?
Probably one, max one. You're buying for one, building for one.
Okay.
Buying for one, building for 1.1, 1.2.
Okay.
And then 1.1 max actually, and then selling for 3. You have 900K gross margin. That's very important to understand. That's only gross margin, because out of that 900K, you still have to pay financing costs. You have to pay the real estate commissions. You have to pay the closing costs. You still have to pay property taxes and insurances. After that, you might be left with 400K if you buy right.
Okay.
And you better be sure. Now, look at it this way, that if you can't sell it for 3 million, you ended up selling for 2.6, you are breaking even. And you sell little lower, you're losing money.
Yeah.
So make sure you buy really right, and you be really sure on that 3 million number that you can sell it for 3 and you can build it for 1.1.
Yeah, I mean, your 10% overage or under is 300 grand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And the market can shift 10% anytime.
Yeah.
One way or the other.
Okay, so you also mentioned be prepared to have some losses. I do want to know a little bit about some of the speed bumps and kind of heartache along the way.
Right.
What's a memorable mistake that I want to go actually? How about Sanjay? We'll go with you first, since this has been year 1 for you. Has there been a memorable speed bump in this first year for you?
Not really, not at this point. I think Nitin has been really, overseeing and while I'm learning. So I think two brains working together, we haven't sold anything yet. So we are very hopeful. We have the right connections. We feel there are the right comps that we can see. So the ARV happens to be pretty close to what we have thought of. That's how it's been also in the past, so it's not a big deal. I think, there's nothing. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, though.
Yeah,
just
knock on wood.
Knock on wood. That, it doesn't happen.
Okay. Nitin, what about you? What's been a speed bump for you?
It's been a learning curve for sure, and market taking a downturn generally becomes a speed bump. If we saw this happen in 2018, market took a severe downturn. we saw for a very short time in 2020 for the initial 3 months when COVID hit. But I would not worry about that because that was such a short time and everything stopped. Nothing was buying or selling. So we just want to erase that one from our memory. Then in 2022, second half, the market did take a big dip, but it picks back. Bay Area market is such, it picks back. So even some of the projects that we sold in 2022, they were like, whatever we were expecting to make on this project, we make half of that in the second half. But in 2023, the market picked back so fast that we bought in early 2023 about 2 or 3 projects at 2022 pricing because they were off market and the sellers were not aware that market is picking up. So we were still buying them at 2022 prices, and we sold them by the time they were done in 2023. And all the loss, not the loss, like loss of profit we had in late 2022, we were able to recover because of abnormal exceptional profit we had in 2023. So it all knocks off, because something you bought too low and sold too high, or something, you sold a little lower than what you were expecting. It all covers up. Haven't been a major speed bump, but I can't deny that initially dealing with contractors for first few years was very, very challenging. That was the most challenging part. You have to build the homes at the right price, which means you can't go with the expensive guys. And if you go with the expensive guys, then they will take away all the margin. You're trying to find that sweet spot, and that sweet spot will take some time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that will take some time.
Is there any, obviously without giving away the trade secrets, but are there any red flags to look out for contractors, or how do you know that you're working with a good bid?
I think that is a learning curve. For you to know how you are working at a good bid, you only come to know when you know the numbers as well as the contractor knows. You know the numbers to really lower level that, this contractor is charging me so much for this house. You should know the number, and that you only learn when you do these things on your own. And you have acted as your own contractor also.
Yeah.
Where you know how much the subcontractors are charging and why subcontractor is charging a certain amount. In fact, just before the start of this interview, I got a call from an HVAC guy, and he's charging $60,000 for a project in Portola Valley we are doing. There are 2 air conditioner, one is 5 ton, one is 3 ton. Then there are 2 mini splits, one for the ADU, one for the pool house, 60,000. Now, how do I know? He actually started with 70, we brought him down to 60. How do I know 60 is okay? I know an AC system for 3 ton complete system is about $6,000 including taxes. The 5 ton is about $8,000 including taxes. So 8 and 6 is 14. I know he'll spend another 14,000 on ducts and other material. That's 28. Then the 2 mini splits he is doing, that's another $5,000 he'll spend. That's 33. He got labor to cover. Let's say 3 guys working 10 days. That's 10, 12 days. That's $1,000 a day, including workers' comp and everything for him. That's $12,000. 33 plus 12 is 45. Then 15,000 is his profit, including his office overheads and everything. Kind of fair number to work with. 68, 70,000 was on the higher side.
Yeah.
But 60,000 with a 20% margin is more of a fair number. But this is what you need to know for every sub trade, and the only way you can learn it is by doing it.
Yeah.
There's I don't know of any other way.
Yeah, the other thing is, I think at this point where we are at, we have data points from historical projects.
Yes.
So we have initially when we buy and we are talking to the lenders, we have a very rigid budget, a reasonable budget with a little bit of contingency that we kind of live with, but with multiple lines. It's not only construction cost, but split into many other items where we kind of look at that as the benchmark.
Yeah.
So we try to get lower than that rather than go, because you can easily go 10% higher every time. But that's where you kind of hold it back and try to kind of negotiate and see if, you get the right brands. You don't always have to go with the highest brand. You have to kind of get that sweet spot that he's been talking about. But I think that's where, from me, it's looking at those historical data points
Yeah.
and ensuring that we are sticking to the budget or keeping it lower than that.
Yeah. Obviously, for you guys have those existing invoices that you've already paid, so you can
Yes,
see.
yes.
Do you act as the builders and general contractors, or are you hiring that out too?
No. So we do have a full-time general contractor in our team. So he's the one who is doing all the construction management.
Okay.
But we do get involved in negotiations with the subs because a lot of time the subs usually when they see a project in Peninsula, they will start with a very high number. So we need to bring them down. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think like Sanjay is saying, we do have those budgets. We also have a spreadsheet where we have mentioned the rate per square feet we typically pay for each sub trade. For tile guy, how much is it per square feet or per bathroom? For framing, how much it is per square feet? For foundation, how much it is? For concrete, how much it is? Pavers, we have it.
Even cabinets now.
Cabinets now, we have done that deal with the cabinet guy on per linear feet
Yeah.
numbers. So it's making it easier and easier. Most of the time when I say that, we have that spreadsheet in the meetup group with 100 people sitting, they all say, hey, can you share the spreadsheet with us? I said, no, that's something you guys have to learn,
Yeah.
do your own stuff and build it up.
Yeah.
That's the learning curve that you have to go through.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know that for our first, at least rehab project for our rental properties, right? You're just getting multiple bids from contractors, and then you just compare them. And hopefully, right, it still meets the numbers. You then inflate it probably by 10, 15% for the whatever else is going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
And then if the numbers work out, the numbers work out. And,
Yeah.
so far, at least with me too, there's been no major speed bumps in my properties. But yeah, I am trying to think about how can I get into adding another zero and another comma on my deal flow, because that's,
Yeah. That's a leap of faith you have to take.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about contractors and all of that. What about on the financing side now? Now that you've gotten more, actually, before we get into maybe the financing that you all are getting, let's go back to Josh's first development deal again. What kind of financing could a rookie developer be looking at?
I think a rookie developer will most probably end up getting a hard money loan to start with, where they will get probably 70% of the project cost, 75% if you're lucky, because all the hard money lenders are looking at your experience. Pretty much everyone now do look at your experience, and they put you in different tiers. And if you are on the lowest tier, where you are a rookie investor, you are doing it for the first time, they'll give you least leverage and the highest interest rate. So be prepared for that. That's what you have to go through that journey again. And you get about 70-75% from the hard money lender, and the remaining 30% is what you have to arrange.
Yeah.
And you need to keep reserves in your pocket. Now, I always say, don't put all your eggs in one basket, because you don't want to you have 700K in your pocket and you just invest all that money in that project. No. In order for you to do a project where you are investing 700K, you better have about $2 million in your bank account, in your overall 401k and everything, so that even if you lose a big chunk of that 700, which is very much a possibility in this business initially, you have not impacted your family too much.
Yeah, I agree. There's
a backup. Yeah,
it's a very similar advice that I like to say too. Whatever the nest egg is, don't spend more than half of it.
Right, probably. Yeah, 1/3 or half max. Yeah.
Otherwise, that would drive you crazy.
Exactly.
Too much stress.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So then now going from the entry level development, and when we say entry, again, we're talking about Bay Area, so different than the rest of the country. But 3 million now. You said you exited one in Atherton for 6. We're sitting in one that's listed at 9.5.
Right.
What's needed to then go from the normal homes? I guess it's a normal plus home, right? That's your entry level luxury, to the higher end mark.
Correct.
How does that change?
I think what's needed is should be an experience behind you of doing normal homes.
Okay.
Fast. That's very important. Don't start with the luxury segment immediately. You need to have experience of going through that normal homes fast. That's the most important thing. And you've got to be very, very confident on your ability to find the right deals. And then your ability to find the money. Because as you get into luxury segment, finding money becomes even more difficult. Now you don't need 600-700K. You probably need $2 million in cash for one project. And that's where, once you have built credibility with your investors, with whom, you have done business, you have given them the returns you have promised, they will always come back. It has always happened with us. We probably have 50 investors in our group now, and most of them have done business with us in past, and they always come back. And it's really the experience and the confidence, and being sure you are buying right, and you have a good pool of investors who are backing you up, or you have your own money, you have your own $2 million to invest.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's talk about the investor side now.
Right.
Because you guys are, like you said, you're not just pulling your own money, but you have a group of investors now. How does that work out for you all in terms of structuring it, returns, etc.?
With the investors, I think Sanjay talks to a lot of investors. Sanjay, you can probably answer how we structure the deal with the investors, the two method. Yeah.
Yeah, we typically, so we have a syndication going on right now.
Okay.
And we had one syndication that was done in 2022. And this house that you're sitting in is part of that syndication. And so it's going to start returning money now back to the investors. The second syndication is another 6 million. So both of them are close to 6-ish million. So the first one was 5.7, that's I say 6-ish. And this one's 6, and we already have 3.45 that we have collected till date. And we are hopeful we'll close this pretty quickly, given we are selling few homes now in the next 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
So we'll, like he said, the investors are going to come back.
Yeah.
So we have that syndication where, so it's a mindset thing where a lot of investors like to diversify, in the sense like not everything is sitting in one project. We do 5 or 6 projects in one syndication. So that kind of diversifies their portfolio in the sense that, in case there is a little bit of up or down, then there is an offset in the other properties.
Yeah.
And so overall fund is able to return what they are expecting from a targeted standpoint, right? That's one way of people coming in and investing with us. The other is we also do a lot of places, not a lot of places, but some places we have, some investors like to invest in just one project. They feel they have better control over things, how they are going. It's like, that's why I said it's a mindset thing. And so we also do that where we do percentage of return on a standard basis that we offer to them. Or sometimes even if it's a larger project, then if they are ready to fund larger amounts, then we can also do profit sharing in some cases.
Gotcha. Yeah. So there's a syndication fund model. You potentially JV'd on some things now. And then obviously you have a variety of different options.
Right. Actually, 3 different options total. One is a syndication fund. Second is where they invest in an individual deal, mostly short term, where we just give 12% per annum fixed. They put a second lien, 12% per annum fixed. And the third one is where we kind of individual deal, but we will give them a profit share, mostly for very high end deals, and that's something which we negotiate with them. But usually we give 1/3 profit share, period, 1/3 profit share done.
I'm sure they're bringing a lot more capital to the table.
Yeah, exactly. They have to. That's where we need $3-4 million for each deal. So 2-3 investors, 4 investors join hand, and they bring in that money.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I guess my question from you both as a general partner side, there's a lot of work of back end things that have to happen to raise capital, to put the syndication together.
Right.
Why not just go and lessen the amount of deals, but lessen the amount of hands that you're sharing it with?
So we do both. We do syndication. There's no doubt syndication involves a lot of paperwork, but a lot of people feel very safe with it because of multiple projects in it. Your money is not invested in one project, and you are raising capital during 5-6 months time, and then you can buy projects accordingly. A lot of people feel very safe with it. So actually initially we were just doing one-on-one deal with the investors, but then my investors came back and said, oh no, we are also looking for some kind of syndication, where we can get a profit share and the money is spread into multiple projects. And that's where, we started the syndication model also. But we still continue to have one-on-one deals, where we give 12% per annum. With the syndication, we are giving, the target is 17% per annum for investors. And if you invest 700K or more, you get higher share of profit.
Yeah.
And your target return becomes 21% per annum. Yeah.
Some good numbers.
But in the syndication, the only thing you have to be a little more patient.
Yeah.
Because it's
Long
not
term.
a short term, it's slightly longer term,
Yeah.
2.5 years when on an average.
Yeah.
But if it's a quick deal where you really want to keep some liquidity and less than 1 year type, then it's that 12% you
Yeah.
settle with. You don't go for 17. That's a balance you have to strike as an investor, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and that I was just curious in terms of the mentality, but that is very good, right? Because instead of saying, here's the deal, yes or no, it's, well, there's this, that, or the other, and so now they can choose in between on how long they want to hold their money for, right? How aggressive they want to be, and that helps keep more investors, I'm sure, aligned with you all.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
a lot of people come from their retirement funds also, so that's another way, the investors thinking.
Okay, so now I want to know, as we, maybe start to wrap up a little bit, you guys have been looking at luxury development. Like you said, you have 6 projects that are hopefully above $10 million.
Right.
Is there anything else on the back of your mind or shiny objects? Is there larger development plays that you want to do? Do you still even entertain fix and flips at all? Like, how does the shiny object syndrome work now that you've nailed down luxury development?
No, fix and flip, we are always looking at that also. If a project comes up, it's always very difficult to make the numbers work because everybody wants to do fix and flip. And when everybody wants to do something, then that item, is no more lucrative. Everybody is willing to pay a little more to buy that and the margin gets cut off. But if we find the right fix and flip deal, we always do that. We will always go for it. In terms of the next level of growth would be more like $20-25 million project in a city like Atherton.
Okay.
And I think that's what we are ready for now because we are doing one project in Menlo Park for $15 million.
Wow.
And it's almost done. We are in last 1 month of construction now. We bought it in 2021. We last 1 month of construction. And we are now in that phase where we want to get into that $20-25 million projects in Atherton and, expand from there.
Wow, that's okay. So that 15 million, just obviously you haven't finished that one yet. But in terms of your projections, you guys purchased that for how much, and how much did you guys put in for construction?
We got it for 5.75.
Okay.
And we put about 3.5 million in construction.
Okay.
Yeah. And,
like all in
and
for
then there
9.
are more costs like the financing costs, the real estate commissions, the property taxes, the closing costs. And we know the interest rate went up from 2021 to now. But yeah, let's see how we are very, very hopeful that it will sell for 15 million, at least 15 million. But let's see how the market responds to it once we put it in the market.
All right, so help me, since both of you are the accountants and I'm not, and I'm the marketer, you're holding that for 3 years, all in for 9-ish. What does the financing look like on that? Do you get a 30-year mortgage on that, or like how does that construction
these are all
loan look?
construction loans.
And so,
always.
what's it amortized over?
They are like 2 to 3 year loan. They are usually
Okay.
2 year loan extended by another 6 to 8 months, and then you have to refinance them into another 1 year loan.
Yeah.
For a longer project, that is there. Yeah.
And then that's interest only until?
Yeah.
It is.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's no amortization as such because it's a business item.
Yeah.
It's not something that you own and that you can depreciate.
But you're just paying interest only payments.
Yeah, you're just paying.
If it's like 10% on 9 million, ends up being
Right.
a lot of money. Yeah, but of course you have the big exit in 3 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, very interesting. The last question I got for you is, at the 20-25 million mark, as you think about how to find that buyer, is it easier to find the buyer for it, or is it easier to almost find the buyer before you even start a project and find a way to partner with them?
We have tried that. In fact, there is a project where we were talking to a buyer to buy it upfront, and we'll build it for them. That's never easy, because the buyer can't really visualize the end project. They always have some kind of risk in their mind, and they don't want to go through that path. And even we feel the best value for money comes once we finish the project and we show the staged project to the buyer. Now, we have sold many projects during construction, that's fine, but still the best value comes once you have finished a project and you sell a staged project to the buyer. That's when they feel least risky about it and they're willing to pay a premium.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just you want to show them the after, the steps along the way, we'll end up losing them.
Yeah.
And it's scary when you talk about like the $9 million loan of whatever that monthly payment is.
Right, it is, yeah.
But
again, if you buy right and you know your market and you have the right team, things will move smoothly. You do the construction at the right price. That's the key.
After a point, you have your investor backing you as well, right? Yeah, because you have that confidence.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you go full cycle, you return capital, and they go, "Oh, this was nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's do it again."
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
You nailed it, yeah.
And I'm sure, obviously, this is on the market now, and as soon as that happens, then the rest of the fund ends up getting filled up really quickly.
Right, exactly. True.
I'm looking forward to that.
So, aside from obviously more investors, are there anything else that you guys are looking for right now?
We are always looking for good deals.
Okay.
Always, So the agents bring those deals to us, or through our marketing, it happens. Off market, never on market. But I think we have a pretty good system going on there to find the good deals. We have pretty good system going on with the construction. We have very good system with the investors also, but we are looking to expand. And of course, if someone want to partner up with us, they are most welcome. If they would like to invest with us, partner up with us, and they would like to enjoy the share of returns that we get, they are most welcome to join us. Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Yeah, anyone can go to our website and look at past projects, current projects. Everything's updated in there. So yeah.
And what's the website? How can people contact you?
Oh, it's www.handadevelopers.com. Pretty simple, straightforward.
Okay.
Just go in there.
I will leave that, by the way, linked in the description and in the show notes to make it easy for them. But I appreciate it. I mean, this is, I think, you watch HGTV.
Right.
There's a lot of flipping shows.
Yes.
But there's not a lot of development shows.
Right. I agree.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Is it rare? I guess the projects take too long for the show producers to be that patient, maybe.
Probably. And I do feel that there is an idea of flipping in this country. People feel flipping is such, glamorous thing to do, and it's fun to do. It's easy to do. You just buy a fixer-upper and you fix it and you sell it. And, we did this to that house, we did that to that house. And, it all sounds very exciting. So it's a perfect thing for a TV show. The reality of flipping is very different. But it's a perfect fit for a TV show.
That's true, yeah. And it's a little more of the instant gratification.
Right.
Here you are planting seeds, not as long as maybe a multifamily syndication, because that'll still take 5 to 20 years sometimes.
Right.
This is...
That's another area we want to get into.
Multifamily,
and acquisition there also is something we're looking to do soon.
To build multifamily?
Yes.
Where? Here?
Here in Bay Area and also out of state, build to rent out of state.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to
So
hear
anybody interested in partnering or has potential acquisitions, we will be interested.
Okay. See, well, it sounds like they're working on a lot of different projects. If you have any questions for them, leave that all in the comments below. But Nitin, Sanjay, thank you so much for telling us a little bit about the business, the awesome success you have, and obviously letting us into this beautiful home.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you so much. Thank you for talking to us.
Hey, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to give it a like and subscribe. And then if you are thinking about developing, doing new construction at all, make sure to reach out to our guests. And if you know anyone else who's interested, make sure to share this with them too.
I just subscribed.
All right. On the show. That's my first on-show subscription.